So what other arcs are there?
Well, like I said, the trolling one feels like it lasts forever.
Yeah.
The initial, I mean, Chris is always being trolled with.
Did it ever stop though?
It didn't really, but there was like,
Right,
I
so
feel
that
like
was like the fourth Ninja War arc then.
it was,
Just kept going.
yeah, it's like the manga arc that you wish ended like 10 years ago that just kept on going. And like, you know, there's some really abhorrent trolling that was done. And again, like some of it is so bad that I do still feel sorry for Chris. Like, you know, wouldn't he shove stuff up his, you know, his member at the time?
Up his member?
Did he do that, or was it his butt?
It was the butthole.
Which isn't very good.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. But yeah, this was a very unfortunate, very dark episode in Chris's life where Chris believed that their girlfriend at the time was being kidnapped by their evil brother or whatever. And also their PlayStation Network account was also being hacked and held hostage. So Chris had to choose which one would you prefer to save, your girlfriend or your PSN account?
At which?
Which they chose.
Chris chose the girlfriend, but by choosing so, Chris believed that they would get both because they made the right choice.
like a Bible, like you made the right choice.
Exactly, yeah.
It was the £5
Yeah,
note.
it's the money on the Bible. It's the money on the Bible. You get both if you pick the Bible.
Wow.
But yeah, during the course of this debacle, Chris was tasked with either, I think, burning their Sonichu medallion, which they fashioned out of like Play-Doh or a clay.
Yeah.
Very iconic piece of.
Either burn it or put it up their butthole. So Chris chose to, cut it up into smaller pieces first because it was too big.
Of course, totally
don't burn it at that point. It's already destroyed, but don't burn it. Put it up your butt.
You can put it back together afterwards, right?
What was the logic behind cutting it up instead of burning it? Is this ever explained?
No.
It's just like, what if you're destroying it? Why not choose the option of destroying it?
Well, because you can still put it back together, right?
Maybe
Was that the thinking?
Maybe Chris thought that they didn't have access to matches.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I really don't know. Which is kind of ironic, given what happens later. But
Wait, what happens later?
No, we'll save it. We'll save it. Wait, you don't know?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's like one of the most biggest plot points in the whole story.
We haven't even got to the plot twist.
I'm so invested in this story.
It's like one of the most well-known parts of the story.
I might know if you remind me.
Maybe we'll talk about it later.
it's in part 39, by the way. So
Part 39. I remember because this was the part that I was waiting for to happen because I'd heard so much about it and I wanted to know. I know, it's insane. It's insane. So, yeah, there's Chris put the thing up their butt and filmed it. And obviously in your version, you censor it for the...
I believe it was like a Skype call or something. So the person acting as the girlfriend and also the evil twin brother, they were the same 13-year-old boy, by the way.
13-year-old boy.
13-year-old boy doing this.
What?
So yeah, after the shoving, they revealed themselves to be a 13-year-old boy and that the girl never existed, which distraught Chris. There were other
naturally.
Yeah, there were other members of that trolling group in the call, but just listening and being muted. But after that, they came out and said, "Jesus, stop!" Like they knew.
I remember this. Yeah,
they knew that this boy went way too far. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting that that only like a sick kid would ask someone to do this.
Yeah.
When I was 13, I think I was just playing Jenga or something. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I certainly wasn't thinking about that. I wonder, like, how do these kids do this?
Right?
That's like throughout this thing, it's almost as much as Chris was doing some really abhorrent stuff. I almost find that everyone involved was also very guilty of doing some really heinous things.
Yeah.
And it felt like anyone who went near this like cesspit of drama was just dragged into doing really horrible stuff.
Honestly, the entire thing just sounds like a shit show. Like
it's like
figuratively and literally. Like
it is the worst part of the internet in every aspect. It shows every single terrible thing a troll can do. It shows the terrible nature of what feeding trolls does. I don't think there's, and that's why it's almost hard to look away because it's so fascinating.
It's such a magnificent train crash, right? That you just like, it's like
the train crashes and does 10 backflips and then lands and then catches fire.
Yeah,
it's just almost like everything that It's just so insane. And I think that's why, again, you should go and watch Gino's video on it. Or videos.
Wait, well, hold on. Like you guys like blue ballsing me with this like plot point right here. Like I need to know.
So there's the whole trolling thing.
Arc? No, I don't know. Is this the best arc?
So yeah, go on.
So yeah, so the trolling with the fake girlfriends thing went on for quite a while, pretty much until Chris's father died.
Right.
When this was 2 years, right?
About 2 or 3 years, yeah. So after that, they decided, let's leave Chris alone. They've suffered enough, I guess. I guess that was their thinking.
Yeah, 2 years later, I think we've done enough damage. I think this is enough. It should have been stopped at the medallion being shoved up.
Yeah, so there was a solid year where Chris didn't do much except occasional Facebook posts. And then fast forward to 2014, where in the middle of the night, Chris was, I believe, trying to make a cup of coffee, and the extension cable which connected to their coffee maker, it was like draped over the bathroom door, and like the constant opening and closing like damaged the wire. It caught fire. The house caught fire. Yeah, it was a.
You also have to understand that at this time, Chris's house is a hoarder's house.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, so. Okay. When you hoard stuff, your house just goes up in flames.
Yeah, of course.
That was the problem, is the reason why this was so jank, and the reason why the coffee machine was so fucked to begin with, is because there was no floor space.
Right.
And I believe there was 2 or 3 cats inside this hoarder's house.
Yeah.
No.
Did the cats? I don't know if the cats. I assume the cats unfortunately didn't make it.
One cat died. Yeah.
Now I'm sad.
That's what's so sad about this, is that in some aspects you kind of don't feel sorry that Chris ruined their own life, because you almost, this is done by yourself.
Yeah.
But I think the most unfortunate part about this is not only is Chris's parents and dragged into all of this mess, but also pets as well.
Yeah, just like other, like innocent bystanders just got involved.
This manager got ran over. There's many points in this story that are so sad. Just for, again, it's like a vacuum. If you're involved with Chris in any way, generally not good stuff was happening. And the hoarder's house. There's pictures of it. I'm sure you can show it on screen, right? It's totally fun.
Yeah, probably fine.
It's fine. This is what it looks like. It's pretty bad. It's very, very
So
bad.
was Chris the hoarder, or was it the
Chris
parents?
was mostly not the hoarder. Actually, Chris's room was the most tidy.
Mother, right?
It was Chris's mother. Yeah, she was the hoarder, and actually resulted in a pretty, I guess, infamous video of Chris, who after posting a house tour video on YouTube,
which is insane to think that you would post a tour of that.
Yeah.
Right. For a girl, obviously.
Right.
Girl, as far as Chris knew.
Yeah.
Chris's father found out and demanded that Chris take down the video off of the internet, which was kind of an impossible task for Chris to do. Yeah. And then during the recording session where Chris was shouting at the camera and all the trolls to take it down now. Chris's father walks in and they have this little discussion about Chris saying about Chris's father saying, if the health department sees this video, we're gonna be evicted. You just stuck a knife in our backs and killed us with your video is what he said. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
So it was very
Jesus.
Yeah. Crazy video. Yeah.
When you're watching this video, you have to watch the video to get a real horrible sense of scale of this. It is essentially like a jungle gym. You can't even the camera you can't see anything. There's just junk everywhere. And it's just too zoomed in.
Yeah.
So every time you're looking around, you can't get a sense of scale of anything because there's just so much stuff. Jeez. And obviously, hoarders' houses are basically just fire hazards. I mean, that's the reason why you get evicted, because you can't do that.
That's exactly what happens, right?
Yeah. Cockroaches, probably also. I believe the cats were also sick at the time. Is that right? Or they weren't?
I wouldn't be surprised.
You can't be healthy.
Yeah.
There were other later cats who became sick in the house. Yeah.
Right. I remember watching a video when they moved to the new place, which was it provided by the government?
There was a new temporary rental place. Yeah, that was provided by the house insurance agency.
Right. And I remember there was a point in this video where you could hear the cat, and it sounded like it was dying.
God.
It sounded very bad.
Dogs too, honestly.
Yeah, the dogs as well, right?
God.
No, leave the animals out of it.
It's a horrible story, and I think it puts into. You often ask the question of how ethical is it to watch all this stuff and document it and talk about it. Is that something that you often struggle with when you're making these videos?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think one thing about your video that I could get is that it seemed like you weren't. It was just pure documentation. You know? You weren't putting your opinion into it. It was just pure. This is what happened, and this is just a pure documentation of things you can already find on the internet.
Yeah, it's kind of just like, just laying out the information and kind of leaving it up to the viewer to make their own opinions about the whole case, whatever it might be, right? Yeah. For better or for worse.
Because I think that's what really attracted me to your videos is that, again, there was just no input from you, but also made you kind of a mysterious figure. It's like you always start the video saying like, who is Chris? What drives it? I'm like, who's Gino? Why is he making this video? Which is why I wanted to bring you on, because I really wanted to learn more about you as well and what drives you to make these videos. Because I feel like, it takes a mental toll, I imagine, having to document this stuff. And there are some lines that you have to say out loud because you narrate Chris's words. Yeah. And there's some very funny out of context clips of you being like just shouting really funny stuff about putting stuff up your ass. Sorry, I hate to do you like that.
It's the burden he has to bear.
Yeah, it is the burden.
At which point were you just like committed to like? At that way you were just committed to, I assume, completing this thing. I mean, you've gotten this far, right?
I mean, I was committed since the beginning. Yeah, I imagine. I was not expecting this to last this long, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah,
but I do understand that some parts may be a bit boring for some, just a constant maybe Facebook like readings of a Facebook posts or tweets, for example, which I do cut down as well, but I find it interesting and relevant to the story, which is a kind of
it's a
kind of a conflict for me.
Every anime has its filler arc.
Yeah. Well, I find that's what makes your video so compelling is that it almost feels like no stone is left unturned. Like every single thing is included. Is that fair to say that you include pretty much everything?
Not really.
Oh, really?
Most things that are really not interesting or not relevant to the development of the story, then I do skip over them.
So how much stuff is, when you have the episode, how much stuff in between like tweets or Facebook posts is cut? Like if you had to give like a ratio of like how much information makes it in to not in the video.
Possibly about 1% doesn't make it in.
Oh, so nearly everything else goes in. It's like literally everything goes in. All right. Wow.
I mean, it depends on how much detail on how much time I spend on it. Like, for example, if it's a vaguely interesting tweet, for example, I just mentioned that Chris talked about this, or like if it's more compelling, if it's more interesting, I just read word for word most of it, for example. So I spend more.
Yeah, because I was about to say, like, if you had said like, about 20%, that would have been like, Jesus, how much content is there on this person?
A worrying amount.
Right? Like, I already watch your videos and I go, my God, this is more information than, several generation families that, have on the internet, let alone just this one single person.